Good morning, it's Yvonne here to do What's Cracking reading. We might use the Albano Rider-Waite Tarot this morning. Firstly, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And for those of you who are waiting on personal readings, I will catch right up today. So today and tomorrow I've put aside to catch up on everything. So my apologies for being a little bit behind with things, but unfortunately life cuts in when you least expect it. Yesterday I apologise for not being able to go live. My computer has been playing up on and off for about a year now, and I know it's about 6 years old. I know I need a new one, and I've sort of put it off because of the cost of it. But the microphone plug, I guess, into the computer, there is a name for it, some technical name, has decided it just won't work at the moment. So I did, however, after having a bit of a meltdown with Amazon, find a way to use my iPad. So I can use that in the meantime for readings, etc. But I went to purchase a new computer from Amazon, who I've been using for years, and my membership is years old. And they questioned my identity and wanted me to provide documents, etc. And I've just got so fed up with it, so now I have to go somewhere else to buy it. So I was probably a bit frazzled yesterday anyway. So I'll get back there. I always do. I bounce back like nothing else. So I'll be back as soon as I can to do some lives. All right, let's just get into the morning. 18th of September, I have got my tarot class on intermediate tarot class. If you are interested in that on the 18th, I already have a few registrations. Please email me and let me know. I wouldn't leave it too long at this stage. I suspect I might have more than the amount that I normally run a group for, but we'll come across that when we do. So 18th of September, which in Australia is Saturday morning, 9 till 12, Australian Eastern Standard Time. And apart from that, really have nothing else to say. I want to say thank you to you all for supporting me and keeping me so busy at the moment. It's amazing. So, yeah, it's been such a journey. All right, we're going to get into your reading now. Thank you for all your feedback on the readings. I know people are really sort of getting the messages at the moment. It's pretty, I don't really know what to say sometimes when people ask. You know, I do the conversation around, you need to understand we're a collective, we're all going through similar things at the moment. I have 2 or 3 readers that I watch, that I really love to watch, and all of them are saying the same thing. So it's pretty humbling to think we're all picking up on the same energies, especially around our you know, improving ourselves, our limitations, understanding who we are, standing in our truth. Those sort of things are coming through with other readers as well, which I think is pretty amazing. It's also coming through with the people, and thank you for the people who post the astrology updates on my page as well, because your confirmation is really humbling for me. So it's pretty incredible. All right, let's get going. And we have the Devil card coming through after me talking about limitations. The Devil card is a card that talks, I feel, primarily about the ego. But what comes into the ego, and when we think of our ego, we think of our inner child, our limited beliefs. It can be codependency, addiction. There's lots of things in the energy of the Devil. And really the card gives it away, because you can see that the people are very loosely chained and could free themselves if they wanted to. So what this card is saying in effect is you're tied to something that you don't need to be tied to. You may be addicted to something that you have some sort of power or control over. But whatever this is, you are being bound to something because it's your belief that you need to be bound. So it may be something simple. It may be something that you're doing, something that you are believing that isn't actually true, that is just what we see as a learned behavior or a limitation that has been brought about by our ego, and quite possibly installed in us as very young people. So anything that comes into the devil energy is the extremes, the things that really we don't need, the things that have become burdensome to us, or the things about us that really aren't necessarily who we are. So it's very much all of those energies in the devil energy. And I feel like a lot of people sort of starting to understand this. I have people writing to me all the time saying, I understood what you meant. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been thinking this. This is the way my life has been. All of the things that keep us bound to an idea of who we are that isn't actually our truth. So very strong energy here. And there it is, the illusion. The illusion. So when we talk about an illusion, what we're talking about is something that you have formed in your own psyche or in your own person that actually isn't true. So it could be a belief about yourself, a belief about where you've come from. A lot of the time it's socialized beliefs or things that you've been taught, not just by your families, but by society and by the people around you. It might be something like, for example, we always talk about, the limitations of something. Okay, you can never be wealthy. You know, your parents may have said to you, money doesn't go on trees, you'll never make it big, you don't have what it takes, you'll never be successful. And we build our life around that illusion. And we end up living it so hard and fast that it becomes a part of who we are. It's in our psyche. And when people say, wow, you're amazing, you could do this, you could do that, you immediately go to, well, no, I can't, because that is where my glass ceiling sits. So even though it is not true, you may have completely built your life around that type of expectation. So there's an illusion going on here. Now, I can see you working with this. So many of you may be recognizing this. Sometimes we say things and we think, where did that come from? And I know that we've got to be like the observer of our own life. You've got to observe your thinking, observe where you are, observe what you're doing, and really see yourself as a very unique being. But what we do is we spend so much time in our heads that we don't always take note of what we're saying. And some people are just so entrenched in that negativity that they don't even see it themselves. Even when you say, hey, that's negative, they don't always see it, because as I said yesterday, some people think they're being realistic, and that is their cop-out. I'm being realistic. Well, go and have a good look and see if you really are being realistic, or whether you are listening to something that was told to you a long time ago. And I see with this Five of Wands, there is a lot of conflict going on around this at the moment. So a lot of people thinking about, how does this happen? What do I need to look at? Who am I? And digging deep within yourself. And look at this beautiful Queen of Pentacles. I love it. All right, so the Queen of Pentacles as an energy, and I feel this is the energy that either the universe is asking you to move towards, or it is about your own energy. And the Queen of Energy, the Queen of Pentacles is a very grounded energy. This is a person who, when she sits in a chair like that, she can feel her bottom on the chair and her feet on the ground. It means that you're sitting in your body. I had a beautiful talk yesterday with a guy in Canada. You may be watching. Hello. And we were talking about the fact, because I recommend to people, if you have the book reading skills that you need to read a book that's quite intellectual, and does require probably reading several times, you need to read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Now, some of you have already read that, because I recommend it all the time. For me, it was a life-changing book. And it talks about all of those things in there. And after I'd read that book, it took a while, but I started to understand how to live in the moment, how to be focused, how to be in my own body, to be the observer of my own life and my own thoughts. All of those things I learned from that book. And I've constantly reinforced that. And there have been times when I've lost my way, like all of you, you sort of get a little bit lost in, grief or sadness or depression. And I've gone down those paths with all of you. But for the most part, especially since I've really sort of embraced who I am, this is where I am anyway. So for me, the Queen of Pentacles, and you can see her studying that pentacle there, and I think this is where you need to be. You need to ask yourself, are you happy in this life? What is it about this life that you're finding really difficult? What can you do in this life to help yourself become more aligned with who you are, so that you are more aware of everything that is going around you, and that you are more awake to what is happening within you. And it certainly helps you to, I guess, be more comfortable in life and accepting. So there is something here that you are finding cause to celebrate, though, right? Brand new start. All right, I want to just peek behind there. You're closing out this cycle. So I feel like this is a very serious reading today. You know, some of the readings have been very deep lately, but the one thing I want to get across to you at the moment, there is a big push from the universe to get us all to stand in our truth, to really understand who we are at a very core level. Some people find it very difficult because their ego or their shadow self or their inner child has become a big part of who they are. For me, I had an experience a couple of years ago where that inner child thing was really brought to the front for me, and I really understood what the inner child creates within you that makes you feel very insecure with who you are, and how you revert to your inner child when things become high pressure or scary or whatever. And digging amongst that is one of the hardest things that you have to do. But you can go on living in your ego, but if that's what you choose to do. But at the end of the day, there's so much more satisfaction in really being comfortable with who you are. So let's see where we're going with this reading, because it really is a deepie. Oh, look at this. Beautifully done. I said to someone yesterday, sometimes the synchronicities are pretty incredible, because you guys write to me and go, oh, I pulled the same cards as you. I pulled these two cards from a very different deck yesterday. This for me is what I'm talking about. This is living your life in the ego or living your life in your spiritual self, your truth, who you're meant to be. But as children, we very often get sort of, I guess, pushed away from this spiritual energy. And if I had a conversation with any of you, I would say to you, you can remember these things when you were a child. How intuitive were you? You know, you thought your life was full of all these coincidences, because you'd think about something and it would strangely manifest, and you'd be like, okay, that's a coincidence, because that's what we get told by people. Oh, it's just a coincidence. It's just this, it's just that. And it's about moving, I guess, so much from your logical mind into your spirituality here. And it's pretty explanatory when you see the two cards together. All right. We have the Ten of Wands. You're definitely putting down an old cycle here. You're definitely starting to come into some new energy. And as I said, I'm lucky enough that I talk to enough people that I understand this is something the collective is really experiencing at the moment. This energy of being able to let go of these teachings, these ideas, are probably manipulations of things we've been taught along the way. Now, I don't put blame anywhere. What I say is, people teach you what they believe is true. So if people are teaching you things, you know, especially from a young child, especially if you love that person or you respect them, you will take notice of them regardless. It just is the way things are. So, you know, if you have a teacher at school who tells you something, it goes a long way. And, you know, you realise that children especially are so vulnerable to being told things that really aren't true for them. And then you grow up thinking that is the truth. That is really how it is. So there's a lot of stuff to undo when you start really digging deep. I've worked extensively on my anxiety over the last few years. I'm what I see as a highly sensitive person. I was as a child too. And I've worked extensively on my own anxiety, to try and understand, you know, when I do get anxious or when something sort of starts to rev me up for whatever reason, the triggers, whatever, my emotions, all those things. And it's taught me so much about myself that I could have learned years ago, but I didn't really understand it. And working out that you have so much power over those things is really quite awe-inspiring. And I see these cards here and I think a lot of you are seeing the same things. You're starting to see how you've given power perhaps to your own emotions or to your own anxieties because you haven't understood that actually they're just your body's reactions to what you're thinking and doing. So if you change what you're thinking and doing, then your emotions and your anxiety change. It's really very interesting. Again, it's a really good idea if you get the time. And I know some of these people I watch are sort of a little bit more difficult to understand, but Joe Dispenza really is incredible around this stuff and changing who you are. So if you really want to, you can. You can change whatever you want to. Don't believe you can't. If someone's told you you can't, you may be believing that. You don't have to. See, you're moving away from it. What I love here is the energy of the Six of Swords in this reading, because the Six of Swords says to me very, very clearly that you understand you don't have to stay where you are. You don't even have to stay who you are, but you can take the lessons that you've learned along with you. So as you move forward, you take everything you learn. So it's not a difficult thing to relearn. But people will say that to you all the time. I can't change. It's the way I've always been. And it's a cop-out. It's an excuse because it takes the work that you have to put in. But you see, again, I'm so divinely connected to you, the collective, that I have people writing to me all the time and saying to me, I understand now. This got me really deep. I get it. I get what you're saying. And you can see it here. You can see this depiction so clearly. This person is moving away from troubled waters into calmer waters. Why? Because they understand they don't want to stay here. They've taken the lessons and they're moving forward. Now, the people here may represent for you, a family that you're moving forward with, but you could think of these people as being other things within you that serve you, but you don't have to take all the other stuff that you've left behind. Something's been creating some sort of sense of anxiety within you here that you have to put down and walk away from. And perhaps some of these things you've held on to with these limiting beliefs have stopped you having this journey. They've kept you stuck in this energy here. You've got to trust your intuition. All right, Knight of Pentacles coming through with the Hierophant and the Seven of Wands. I feel like here with this Seven of Wands, especially with the Devil energy coming out as the primary focus this morning, that for some of you hanging on to this energy of who you were, you feel may be who you're meant to be. And I guess that's the struggle, isn't it? Deciding what is your ego and what is not. And I say to people, your ego is there for good reason. You're never going to clear your ego away completely because it's actually a safety mechanism. So it's the ego that says to you, you cannot jump off the edge of that cliff, you will die. That is your ego. Your ego will tell you, not to put your finger in a plug or a socket because that would electrocute you. Those are the things your ego is there and meant for. It is there to keep you safe and to keep you from harm. So what happens then when we start to build up fears from childhood about who we are? That ego represents every fear that we have. So it starts to say to you, you can't take a chance with that. You may get knocked back if you go for that interview. You're not good enough for that job. But it's really trying to save you from yourself. So if you get in the habit of understanding that your ego is trying to save you, it's protecting you from your own fears. It is trying to get you to understand. So it treats you like you're still a child. So when you have those thoughts, ask yourself, is that actually true? If I stick my finger in the socket, will I get electrocuted? And if the answer is yes, don't do it. But if your ego is saying don't go for that job in case you fail an interview, then I would be asking myself, what is that saying to me? Whose voice is that in my head? Who told me that originally? Because I don't want to believe that anymore. I'm going to go for this job interview. You know what? And if I don't get it, or I fail, or I see myself as failing, that's fine. I'm willing to take that risk. because I see some of you fighting against it here, which is okay. There is something to do with love, though, that you have yourself convinced of here, because we have this Two of Cups. And I look at this and I think there is some belief here that you are holding about your ability to love or make connections with people, that you may hold yourself back from doing because you believe somewhere or another that you don't either deserve it, that somebody may not be right for you in a way that puts you down. You may not think you're good enough for a relationship. You may feel that you're not worthy of something. Some of you here may be not believing that you're ever going to have a relationship. And here I see some sort of offer coming through for you that you are believing cannot happen because you are so stuck in your ego mind that you believe somehow or another it's not going to happen for you. But you see, the universe has got other ideas because some sort of soul contract was written here. Something was written for you. Somebody is meant for you here. But you've got yourself convinced. Now, it could be something as simple as this person comes from a different culture, they live too far away, we have a big age difference, I've fallen in love with somebody of the same gender and that is not supposed to happen. I'm supposed to fall in love with someone of the opposite gender. Whatever it is for you here, you are denying yourself because of what you've learned. And something is about to be presented to you here to show you that you have been really stuck in this energy, this illusion for so long, and you fought it. But the universe is asking you to sit back in yourself, take what belongs to you and take this risk, because something is about to be presented to you that is going to need to take you to take a risk on it. It's needing for you to say yes to something, and your ego might be saying no, you might get hurt. What will people say? You know, what does this mean? And just listen to the voice that's telling you that. Where did you hear that voice? Because it's, I think one of those cards, those Wisdom and the Oracle cards, says it's just this scared little voice inside of you that's worried about you, like, failing. But like I said, there is no such thing as failure. It's experience. If we saw it as experience, we would take more risks. Who is this person that's coming forward? Well, you have manifested this and you're about to be shown your manifestation. And there's the Temperance card here. Wow, head over. Look at this, ego over spirituality. You're really tossing up on something here, whether it's right for you or not. And it's being brought right in where you needed it to. Don't self-sabotage it. For some of you, it's a second chance with somebody. Perhaps a chance you never thought you had. Maybe you've talked yourself out of it because you thought you weren't good enough, but it's part of your destiny. It's part of who you were meant to be. Don't sabotage it. Remember to think spirituality over ego. A reasonable balance is always good. This is divine timing. You've manifested something that's coming in when it's right to come in. I feel like for many of you, it's the offer of some sort of relationship. But whatever this is for you, you've got to consider, what are my limited beliefs here? Do I think this can't work? Because I don't know. They're highly educated and I don't think I'm smart enough. They're, this religion, I'm that religion. Whatever it is for you, you've got some sort of limited belief here that you need to understand. Take a risk. It's something beautiful for you. All right, let's have a look. Wow, that was a really long, I think that's one of the longest readings I've ever done. All right. Let's pull an oracle card. Higher power. Whoo! All right, card number 4. Of course it is. 4. And 4s everywhere. 4s, 4s, 4s. They've been doing that to me for years, sending the 4s in. Sometimes it's just ridiculous when I see them. I look up, and it'll be 444 and it'll be 444 at the same time I see 44. Okay. Conscious contact with a higher power. The presence of the divine, wow, that really is that temperance energy today. Seeing source energy in all things and committing to a partnership with spirit. And maybe that's what it is for you here with this Two of Cups. This card reminds you that you are more a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul and are gifted with a human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it through prayer and meditation. Ask, what is the highest good for all? How can I serve? And then get out of your way and trust that there is a plan for your life more wondrous than you can ever know. You are always protected and divinely directed. Isn't that a beautiful card? You know, I have to say to the beautiful person who said to me yesterday about spirit always backing up my readings, because I am still so humbled by that. Sometimes I say the very words that appear on the card before me and I'm like, wow, how does that happen? Can't be a coincidence, right? Have a wonderful day.